Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Conservative American Perspective. I'm your guest host. My name is Dr. Sheikh, and I'll be with you here for the next few minutes talking to you about the exit polls. That's right, folks, an anatomy of the 2022 midterms. What happened in Michigan? What did Michigan show us with the exit polling? We've got some great data that was done by CNN, asked some really interesting questions, and we're going to answer some of those questions. Remember, we were told a lot of that, abortion really wasn't going to be much of a policy in terms of getting people out to vote. Young voters weren't going to come out. We heard a lot of pundits talking about that this was going to be that huge red wave. So what was it that made this election? Why did the red states get redder? Why did the blue states get bluer? And why did those states that were sort of purple in between, why didn't the red waves show up in those states as we expected, according to the polling data going into the election? Well, we're going to get into that right now, folks, so stick around. And if this is the first time that you've joined our show, we certainly appreciate it. Please go ahead and subscribe to the Conservative American Perspective and hit that notification bell. We just are in our infancy. We just started about a week ago. We've got about 6 or 7 videos out. We hope you like our content. So we continue to hope that you like, share, and follow us. We'd really appreciate that. And with that being said, let's go ahead and get to the slides of the polling questions, the exit polls about Michigan. We'll do that right now. All right, folks, so let's get down to the nitty gritty. Here we see a total of almost 2,400 respondents according to age. And if you take a look, Whitmer literally cleaned the clock of Dixon among every age group that was out there. Something about Michigan, these people didn't care. Michigan got bluer and bluer and bluer just as Florida became redder, redder, and redder. Dixon, I mean, here, basically was statistic. It's a tie, 3 points. She won between 50 and 64. People in Michigan, young, middle-aged, old, they love her policies. They love the lockdowns. They love the mask mandates. They love the shutdowns. They loved all of it, obviously, because they put her back in office by a huge margin. That Michigan has gotten bluer, folks. It's going to be very difficult to take Michigan, at the presidential level, unless we have somebody that's out there that can really get the rural vote, as Trump did back in 2016. Marital status. If you were married, and this is normal, married tendency usually goes conservative, usually goes Republican, but you're not going to win if you split this basically 50-50. But look at what happened. If you were unmarried man, unmarried female, unmarried guy, 30 points goes to Whitmer. Nation's economy. If you thought it was good, 96% went to Whitmer. Not so good, 71%. If it was poor, 10%. If it was poor, 10% still went for Whitmer. Think about that, folks. That's where this, I mean, it's just amazing, but that's the way they think. That's the way they do things in Michigan. Party ID, 35% Democrat, 32% Republican. Guess what? She cleaned their clock, 98-2. Republicans here, 7%, still went for Whitmer. Independents. She won. What were we told? Independents are going to be breaking for the America First candidates. Independents are going to be breaking for the Republicans all across the board. Not in Michigan, it didn't happen. No, it didn't. Ideology. Liberal, 27% of these 2,400. 97% went to Whitmer. Moderates, moderate Republican, moderate Democrats. Maybe you're a moderate independent, who knows? But guess what, folks? That's 40%. 67% went for Whitmer. 31% went for Dixon. So she got a lot of Republicans in this too, along with Democrats. If you were conservative, 34% electorate, all right, 90% went for Dixon, but still 9% of those still went for Whitmer if you were conservative. Race, white, statistical tie. But in the black vote, oh my goodness, again, Whitmer cleaned Dixon's clock, 94-6. Gender, male, literally 3-point difference, positive for Dixon. Female, 50% of the vote, 62 to 36. Again, 26-point difference. Whitmer just in gender. And we'll see as we go to the abortion issue. Urban, if you lived in the urban area, Whitmer, 73%. Suburban, she wins there too. Out in the rural area, 57. But guess what? She still got 41% of the rural vote. There had to be a lot of Republicans in that, or a lot of independents, and obviously the Democrats out there. But a lot of these Democrats, they voted for Trump. They voted for Obama twice. They voted for Clinton twice. And they voted for Trump, these Democrats out there. Condition of the nation's economy. If you thought it was good, 24% of these respondents thought it was good. 95% with them went there. Not so good, not so poor, not good or poor. 75% of respondents in Michigan, if you take this out, extrapolate it out, 75% said it wasn't good for them. But yet 43% still voted for Whitmer and her policies. That's just amazing. That's astounding to me. Abortion should be legal in all cases. 32%. 94 went to Whitmer. I don't understand why this 5% went to Dixon. If you think it's legal in all cases, why are you giving it to Dixon? Legal in most cases, 69-28. You thought it was illegal, again, about 1/4% illegal in most cases. Dixon wins here, but if you thought it's illegal in most cases, you still gave 11% to Whitmer? It's illegal in most cases, but you still gave it to her. You still put 11%. Again, surprises me. Illegal in all cases, not enough information. Here it is. If it's legal, 63%, 81% to Whitmer, 17% for Dixon. If you thought it was illegal, 89% for Dixon, but still 10% still went for Whitmer, even if you thought it was illegal. 10% of the respondents. That's huge, folks. That adds up to points in a final victory margin. Again, you thought it was illegal. You gave it to Whitmer, who basically abortion on demand up until the time of birth. After birth doesn't matter. That's what you can do, basically. Married men. Dixon carried married men. Married women, Whitmer. Unmarried men, a 3-point difference. But look at this again, 50-point difference. The same thing that we saw basically was happening in Pennsylvania. In these blue states, unmarried women, the single women vote was huge for the Democrats. And abortion was the thing that really took it over the top. That was something that was at, just like that, Trump vote back in 2016, that was sort of, hidden away and wasn't coming up to the top. We knew it was there, but a lot of the polling didn't pick it up. Wasn't picked up by the polling here either, folks. It did come out, and it came out as a blue wave in these areas. By race, Dixon wins it among white men. She lost it among white women. Black women just got creamed 96-4. In the age group, again, 18 to 44, Whitmer, young people always voting Democrat. They vote for these policies. Doesn't always affect them right there. Sounds good, feels good. But then as they get on later in life, they realize that those policies that they voted for aren't helping them. But then it's too late. The piper's already been paid. And you have no recourse. And here, 45 or older, she still wins it by 3. Education. College graduates, they're 40% of that respondents, almost 38% here. Overwhelmingly, college graduates, no college degree, 3 points. By race, white voters, college degree, she wins it by nearly 20 points. No degree, Dixon wins. But still, these are these white voters, no degree, out in the rural areas probably. A lot of them were Trump people. They didn't come out. I know this was, Trump said for Dixon, he was out there, he went out and did rallies, but Trump literally himself wasn't on the ticket. So who were these? Were these any of these Republicans, moderate, left-leaning Republicans, independents, voters of color, college degree? Again, 50 points to Whitmer. If you're a voter of color with no degree, wow. 82 to 17. Union households, 62% If you 27% of the respondents, 62% went for Whitmer, 37% went for Dixon. Surprising, she did get some of the union vote. They did like what she had to say. If you weren't, basically a tie. So you can't have a tie here and lose this by like 25 points. Again, white voters, 80%, literally tied. Voters of color, you're losing 80 to 20. Can't do that. Party by gender, we talked about this here. Republican men, 93%, 90% Republican women. Again, you're losing 9% of Republican women. Over here, she didn't lose any Democrat woman. She only lost 3% of the Democrat men. That's 6%. That's 9% that you've lost. In a close election, that's a lot, folks. Let's go to education. We've covered, first-time midterm election voter. First time, right? What do we say? They don't come out a lot, usually the younger voters, but they came out in droves too as well. 11%, 58 to 39. That's pretty good. And if it wasn't, which is about 90%, you still 13 points. Here's one, presidential vote. If you vote for Biden, 50% of them said they did. Almost nearly 98% went for Whitmer. For Trump, 43%. 91 went to Dixon. There was a peel off. Here. 7% went for Whitmer. Let's go here. Opinion of Biden as a president. If you thought you approved of Biden, wow, 99% you went for Whitmer. But here's the thing, if you disapproved of Biden as a president, again, just like we saw with Fetterman, 16% of Michigonians still gave their vote for Whitmer. If you disapproved of Biden, it didn't matter. The 16%. This right here, 100% of everybody that approved. That's tough to beat when you're, even though you won 81 to 16. Inflation, here's another one. Has it caused your family severe hardship? Severe hardship, 21%. 1 out of 5. Guess what? 25% still went with Whitmer, even though it was her policy that crushed Michigan, crushed small businesses, crushed job creation, crushed everything that had to do with the economic downturn that occurred during COVID. Moderate hardship, even if you had moderate hardship, 54% still went for Whitmer. And if you had no hardship, you're winning that battle. Let's go here. Most important issue. Look at this here, folks. Abortion in Michigan. They love their abortions in Michigan. They really do. 45% thought it was a number one issue. But when we were looking at nationally, where was it falling? Top 5, top 6, top 10, 11%, 8%. Michigan, 45%. It was the most important. And the thing is, I'm surprised that 22% actually gave it to Dixon. I thought this would be much higher if you're thinking this is the number one issue to your vote. Inflation was high. Crime. Was there a lot of crime going on in Michigan? A lot of crime going on in Chicago, but Chicago is blue, 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 blue. A lot of crime in New York. That's blue, blue, blue. Except Long Island turned red thanks to Lee Zeldin. Gun policy didn't matter, not enough data. Immigration, not a big deal, but inflation, 28%. So if you thought about inflation, but that's not huge. That's a huge voting block in there. Was your vote, if you want to support Biden, 70% went 99. Opposed Biden, okay, pretty much here. If it wasn't a factor, they went for Whitmer. Was your vote, if it was to support Trump, you went 91 for Dixon. But even if you want to support Trump, she lost it. There was some peel off over here. And if you were opposing Trump, there's a difference, 6% right here. If it wasn't a factor, it went to Dixon. So Trump not a factor, it went to Dixon, but still, 46% over here. Look at this, folks, here. Feeling about Roe v. Wade. If you're enthusiastic, 89% went for Dixon. So I don't understand. If you were enthusiastic about Roe v. Wade being overturned, Why would you give 11%? Why 11% voted for Whitmer? You would have thought this should be in the high 90s. If you were satisfied with it, you gave it to Dixon, but Whitmer got a pretty nice chunk. But look at over here. You're dissatisfied, 63. And if you're angry, 40% of the electorate's angry, 91-7. So here, 7% you're angry. Now, I don't understand either. If you're angry with it, why would you give it to Dixon? I would expect this number to be higher, but it was high enough. Here it is, strongly approved even after everything that was going on in Michigan with all the draconian crackdowns on civil liberties and everything going on, mask mandate, COVID lockdowns, vaccine mandates, everything was out there. Still 37% approved, nearly 100% said okay. If you somewhat approved, still high. If you strongly disapproved, about a third. But you know what? This is hard here, folks. This is hard. When you got 53% on the approval, and you only got 45%, and out of that, 34% strongly disapprove. She got it over here. Want Biden to run for president. 94% say yes. The no's, there are more people out there, 7 out of 10 don't want him to run for president, but, let's see what happens. Effect our Whitmer's music extreme, Biden's extreme. Do you trust opinion of Whitmer as a governor? There's so many questions inside here. Trust scandal, extreme, decided, here's one. Where did all this occur? They said all the late breakers were going to go towards Dixon, right? Well, did you have in the last few, not enough information here? If you made up your mind in October, I'm sorry, not enough information here. Before 82% before October, 55% went for Whitmer. It was already decided. Nothing was going to happen afterward. Trust more to handle crime. 42%. Out of that, 99% Whitmer. If you trust, Dixon got 53% in that trust more to handle crime. And she did fairly well, but this was basically, 99-91, 95-5. Here's the one, feelings about Roe v. Wade being overturned. If you were enthusiastic, satisfied, you were happy that Roe v. Wade was overturned. About 41% said they went for Dixon, 84%. Again, this should have been much higher to Dixon if you were enthusiastic, satisfied, but even though you were satisfied, there were still other things that you liked about Whitmer. So that's where the 16% went. Here's another thing. If you were dissatisfied or angry, again, Whitmer got 83%, but almost a reversal here. So you would have thought if you were dissatisfied or angry, you would expect more. But a lot of these probably, it wasn't their number one or number two issue. So yes, they were dissatisfied or angry, but it wasn't their top. But if it wasn't that top one or top two, that's where these people came into right here, folks. Anyways, just hope you got some great information in terms of the background of these questions and how these respondents in Michigan answered it, why this was so different than other past elections. And again, the same thing, folks. We have got to learn to be on the same type of political field, as we're out there when we're politically doing things that we need to win. Otherwise, we're going to lose these battles. And in Michigan, they do a phenomenal job, the Democrats do, in terms of getting out the absentee vote, getting out the mail-in ballots. I'm not sure, but I believe, ballot harvesting, I would imagine in mostly Democratic places, I've got to do a little bit more digging, but I believe ballot harvesting is legal in Michigan. And Republicans, we can't rely on the same old model. Just come out on election day and hope we're going to win. This has got to be a wake-up call to the ground game. And the Republican National Committee basically was just relying on the polls. Mitch McConnell, Kevin McCarthy didn't do a single darn thing at all in terms of helping to get out that ground vote. And it really did hurt. We cannot go into some of these blue places like Michigan, Pennsylvania, a purple place like Arizona, Nevada right now behind. Look what we did in Florida, folks. We had more people voted in the by early ballots and absentee ballots and the mail-in ballots, Republican this time, so we weren't playing catch up. And that's why it was a huge sweep, a huge red wave in Florida. They did it the right way. We've got to adapt to this new style of political gamesmanship, I guess you want to call it, or political, uh, nuance, that's out there. We have got to be on the same political field and use the same type of tactics that the Democrats do and get even better at that. And that's what they're doing out in California, folks. Certain districts out there are understanding how to get those ballots out there, how to harvest those ballots legally and get them out there using all kinds of methods that are within the law. Anyways, we certainly hope that, like I said, you appreciate this video, got some great content. If you did, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We certainly appreciate it. And I'll leave you with my final thoughts. I'm your guest host here on the Conservative American Perspective. My name is Dr. Sheikh. And when you're right, and when you're left, oh, those guys are so wrong. We'll see you again next time, folks. Take care and stay safe.